Welcome everyone to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and a title changed hands, man. Henry Cejudo, the new flyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. One title changed hands, one did not. The one that was more likely to change hands did not. And frickin' Mighty Mouse, his streak of what was it, 11 defenses is is no more. Fucking crazy, historic, and like if it was gonna be anyone, might as well have been Cejudo, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, and I get that it's hard to, there's a reasonable call that DJ got robbed. I
Robbed. It was a
well,
close fight.
it was a close fight. Yeah. There are going to be people out there saying DJ got robbed. There's a reasonable call to say he won it. Not
I
that he
think
got
he
robbed.
won it. I scored it for him, but I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was
I,
a super close fight where
And
it
I thought
round
I
could have
scored it
gone
for
either way.
Cejudo, and I went and looked at the stats right afterward, and it's not hard to see why you would score, like why it would be so close, and why you could score it either way. Your swing round, really, the whole thing, at least by the numbers, and I realize that numbers aren't the whole way to go on this, but was really in round 2 where Demetrius Johnson landed by fight metric. Maybe the numbers are off. I know they can be sometimes, but he landed 15 significant strikes to Cejudo's 11, and Cejudo got a takedown and a pass. So you're talking like a difference of 4 significant strikes. Now, granted, in total strikes, DJ landed 30 to Cejudo's 19, but that's your swing round. Is otherwise Cejudo landed slightly more. Arguably, he landed more in the 5th, and he landed as many significant strikes and more in the 4th, and then he got handily outlanded and outworked in the 1st and the 3rd. So
Yeah, pretty much, man.
yeah,
Not a robbery though,
no,
so I'm not gonna listen to that. But hella close fight. It's kind of sad to see perfection come to an end. I've always liked perfection. That's why I was a Floyd Mayweather fan.
yeah.
Um, but shit,
As Cejudo said, America loves a winner. So does that mean that you're up for Cejudo versus Dillashaw now?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, DJ obviously didn't want that fight, but if they want to make that fight, I mean, we know what these guys are getting paid, so if they can get paid more from fighting each other, then fuck it, why not, dude?
Yeah. I honestly don't think that fight gets made. I mean, Rogan must have gotten prompting from the truck and all that to ask Dillashaw about it, or maybe he just took his own initiative and made sure to make that part of the post fight thing and build it up a little. But I'd be pretty surprised if the UFC then turned around and was like, "We're making that fight." I don't think it has any of the basic or the baseline interest that even was questionable to a lot of people whether DJ versus TJ had.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder what would have happened if TJ and DJ fought.
Yeah. No, I know. We're not getting that fight now.
Because I mean, it's not like Cejudo came out and was put on this grinding performance where he's, doing nothing but takedowns. Like he did score a
No.
couple of takedowns, but like he was also outstriking Mighty Mouse too.
Yeah. I mean, especially like in the 5th round when DJ really needed to make a statement in that round and mixed it up with Cejudo in tight, DJ was the one who looked like he got stung and pushed out of the pocket, trading power with Cejudo. And, like that was, and it was my question going into this. While I picked DJ, I was still wondering, I was like, if Cejudo has improved enough in the clinch that DJ can't just run him over there, and this is just a range striking battle, is that really a fight where I'm confident that like DJ has just a wealth of tools to go to where he can dominate Henry Cejudo? And the answer is no. Like he had success with his leg kicks. He didn't lack for success, but he also did totally lack for dominance.
Yeah, he didn't dominate anywhere. And is this the oldest we've ever seen Mighty Mouse look?
Well, it's the oldest he's ever been, literally.
Yeah, but like noticeably, would you say this was a noticeably slower performance, or is it
Ah,
Cejudo got that much better
I
since they
think
fought
Cejudo really
last?
did get that much better, and I honestly think it's just that Johnson has never been a potent striker against somebody who's at least reasonably technically tight and clean the way Cejudo is now. I mean, I know he had that big quick stoppage against oh what was it? It was Joseph Benavidez back in 2013. But other than that, and his body knee TKO to Cejudo, it's not. There's no reason to say that DJ's ever been any kind of power striker. And I think that against somebody who wasn't just wide open to be hit and didn't just hang his chin out and make it a really like it's not Wilson Hayes fight where Hayes is just kind of uncomfortable in the middle distance and DJ can just kind of style and pick him apart at will. Then he's not a potent striker. It was a physical matchup that didn't favor him. Somebody with more horsepower who wasn't so wide open that he could just kind of plunk him and move away.
Yeah, I mean, he did his best.
Yeah.
I think he did his best, but I think Cejudo is he's really good, and I think that loss motivated him. I think
Oh
getting
yeah.
embarrassed, getting stopped in the first round, I think really lit a fire. And the dude's a gold medalist, so he already has the drive of a champion that is
Yeah.
X factor, but like it's definitely something that matters and means something. And this dude is now a fucking world champion in MMA. So
So the
I mean,
question is now, a decade after his Olympic run, I believe it's been like a decade, hasn't it? He was like
yep,
18 or
oh 08.
19.
It was the '08, yeah,
Yeah.
'08 Olympics.
A decade after his Olympic run, is he going to be still the same guy who, once he was champion, just kind of coasted and let everything fall apart?
Well, he's
Because by the
talking
time
about
he
going to.
got to MMA, people were like, "Oh, Cejudo doesn't have any of the drive and determination to be a great MMA fighter. He's going to fail miserably."
But you know what? To Cejudo's credit, maybe he knows that about himself, and
Yeah,
that's why he's like 135. Let me
yeah,
go try for that title. So that's like motivation. But defending, maybe that's not his thing. Maybe he's not
yeah.
trying to.
We'll see. But he's a decade older. People grow. That's a lot of time to mature, especially from a teenager.
Yeah, but the first thing out of your mouth is, "I'm coming to 135."
Yeah, well, I think I think it was more of a statement at the end of that to kind of show Demetrius Johnson up. Like, you've taken the belt, and now you're going to be like, and I'm going to take this fight that he wouldn't take in your face. It's mine now. I get all of this. And, it's kind of, I think even if he doesn't get it, him openly campaigning for it, I think it's the right move to just show, like, I'm going to be something different than the last guy, which to, the unfortunate legacy of Demetrius Johnson, nobody was all that interested in.
He should get an instant rematch, though, for real.
Oh yeah, he should, unquestionably.
Like,
So
I mean, the fight alone was so close that it merits a rematch. But like the title reign, I mean, come on.
yeah,
Like, if anyone was to ever get a rematch,
yeah, it
Demetrius
was
Johnson
a
deserves it.
controversial decision, the longest reigning champion in the promotion's history. Just give the dude another fucking shot. But on that same note, then, and to the same thing. This is why I say I don't see the Cejudo Dillashaw fight happening right away. Is that Dillashaw now has a Marlon Moraes fight out there that I'll be fucked if I'm not happy for that.
Ooh. Someone's getting kicked in the head.
Yeah,
Maybe a double head kick KO's on the horizon.
like that's an awesome fight. I know people
Yeah.
don't. I know. It's not the kind of fight that's going to build up any absurd hype for or anything like that. Marlon Moraes isn't the kind of guy to go out and drum up a bunch of drama, but
No, but you're gonna not want to blink at all during
yeah,
that one.
it's a fun ass fight, and it's right there waiting for Dillashaw. And maybe at some point, Dominic Cruz, I think he's currently recovering now from like a shoulder injury or something. Maybe he'll finally like stitch enough of himself back together to win a fight,
Man.
and then
Dude,
he can fight.
Joe Rogan was ripping his fucking heart out, dude. First thing out of his mouth,
No,
TJ Dillashaw is the best bantamweight champion of all time. Like, damn, dude. Like, slow down now. He's damn good. Like, but But come on now, let's think about this for a second. Is he? Is he though? I mean, what Dom did was pretty impressive. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because obviously Dillashaw has the wins over Hanan Barao, which are big. He's got the win over Rafael Santos, which isn't showy, but it's big. He's got the 2 wins over Cody Garbrandt, who beat Dominic Cruz. But he also has the loss to Dominic Cruz, who has
That kind of
beaten
settles it, in my opinion.
everybody, and Cruz has beat everybody else. Like Cruz doesn't have the modern names because he hasn't fought lately, but he did beat Uriah Faber at the height of Faber's career, and Benavidez before they've opened the flyweight division, and Demetrius
Yeah,
Johnson. So
and TJ Dillashaw. So like
and
that should
TJ
settle
Dillashaw.
it. That's like I
Yeah,
think TJ has the potential to be the greatest of all time, but calling it right now, I think it was Rogan just being a fucking dick to to what's his face,
to
to
Cruz. Maybe
Dom.
he's tired of
Yeah,
Cruz always one upping him and like actuallying him during UFC broadcasts.
yeah. Well, actually, the underhooks. Like
Yeah,
here's an underhook, motherfucker.
right.
Uh,
Oh, all right. Before all that, Renato Carneiro beat
oh wait,
Cub
we have to go. We
Swanson.
didn't even talk about the main event.
We did. Okay, you're right. We didn't. We should go back. Forgot.
Hold on,
Actually, talk
I
about.
need to take off the crown of the crown of New Tide. We'll
All
call
right,
it.
TJ Dillashaw. So he beat Cody Garbrandt, and frankly, I mean, he did kick his ass, right? I'm not just imagining that.
No, he
Like,
totally kicked his ass. Like it was real low pace, or not low pace, but like a little bit of feeling out was going on. And
yep,
the second Garbrandt came forward with aggression, he opened himself up and got dropped.
yep,
And then that was like the beginning of the end. Dillashaw just went on this violent spree and just, I mean, he wouldn't stop punching the dude and just beat him from one side of the cage to the other. I mean, dude was out on his feet. Like, thank God the referee was there to step in because that dude was going out.
yeah. I gotta say too, it was impressive because it was a much more instant adjustment for Dillashaw than it was in the first fight, which you would hope. He's faced this
Yeah.
guy before, but I also kind of expected Garbrandt to come out with something a little new. He came out with kicks, which was nice, but it's not like a whole complete game plan. And he clipped Dillashaw early in the fight, hurt him a little bit. He's always fast. He's always powerful. That was always going to happen. But right after that, Dillashaw was just like, nah, I got your number now. And that was it.
Yeah, it was a beating.
Really, really impressive win from Dillashaw. Like I say,
He's damn good, man.
yeah, he is. I wish there was just the right big fight still out there for him. That Mighty Mouse fight, that felt like such a cool fight. And I feel like there should be some other great fight waiting that's not just waiting for Dominic Cruz to drag his zombie self.
You know what? What about Jose Aldo?
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool, except that all those kind of always been bricked up on the high end of featherweight, so it would be Dillashaw having to go way up. But
I mean, up is up.
yeah, no, it's true. There are fights that could happen out there. It's just there's maybe the Aldo fight. That would be weird and fun as hell. That's a little out of left field, so I don't dislike it. But
Well, we just got Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier, so left field is kind of the place to be right now.
although, of course, Nate's saying that fight might be off, but who wants to listen to him?
Oh man, good old Nate.
I know.
Why was he shitting on that card?
I don't
The
know.
November card. And he's like, I don't want to fight on that shit.
He's I don't. This is a dude who also said like 10 months ago that he'd be fighting in like 3 months. So I don't really listen to Nate Diaz until I see the cage close. Then I know whatever's going on is for real.
Motherfuckers.
Before the top 2 fights though, Renato Carneiro beat Cub Swanson, and another fight like the Dillashaw Garbrandt fight where I expected a slow adjustment. I expected Carneiro to need a little time to feel Cub out, figure out the timing, and then kind of open things up. And Cub started well. I mean, I thought he was doing really well for the first couple minutes, and then he walked into that jab, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel like Moicano, he just took the center and just started throwing head kicks. Like immediately saying, okay, Cub, this is the range, and if you want to get inside, you're gonna have to get desperate.
Mm-hmm.
and like being desperate worked out a little bit. Like he was
Yeah.
landing some big overhand rights, but like eventually that aggression just ran him right into a really stiff jab that sat him down. And Moicano, he gets the full mount, takes the back, and locks in that rear naked choke. Cub fights the hands, but Moicano goes palm on palm and like crushes the face. And I
Yeah.
believe Cub that's a recurrent injury with him, right?
Yeah,
Like
he
his
got
head
he
is,
got he got his shit rearranged by Melvin Guillard like 15 year or 12 years ago, and it took
yeah.
a half decade to heal up right.
So like, if this wasn't even like under the neck, this was just like crushing
Yeah.
his face, and Cub was forced to tap. And man, this is huge for Moicano, man. Like he
Yeah.
looked great, he looked elite, and dusting the number 5 guy in the world in the first round, and now he's beat Cub Swanson, Jeremy Stevens, and probably has done the best so far against Brian Ortega. So
Mm-hmm.
like, assuming Holloway's out, that leaves like Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo. I would say Chad Mendez, but like I just interviewed Mendez and he's like, he's not fighting anyone that's not getting him right next to a title shot, and he's willing
Yeah.
to sit out for it. So he's off the table. But Moicano,
But
man, he's
Moicano
like,
gonna go and carve up the silver circuit of the featherweight division.
yeah.
Start dropping all these old dudes.
Yeah, man. But like Frankie's getting up there.
Yeah.
So that could be like, that might be.
That might be a fight to make. Frankie Edgar, Hinata Moicano. Edgar just coming off a win now over Swanson himself, but
But does this fight get Moicano going that way? Or
oh
does it
wait,
still
that's right.
kind of.
Frankie Edgar's fighting Chan Sung Jung, so probably the winner of that, whether it's Korean Zombie or Edgar.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think that beating Swanson, along with his win over Stevens,
Jeremy
I mean,
Stevens, yeah.
like it's either that or they're gonna pitch him a complete
Like
weird.
Josh Emmett, but Josh Emmett's like
Yeah,
kind of a legit matchup for him too.
yeah. Emmett would be about the lowest caliber fight that would make sense for him to take, but the UFC might just pitch a weird one at him and have him fight like the winner of
Volkanovski.
Zabit Yair or something.
Ooh, oh man. I keep forgetting about that fight, man.
Yeah.
When is it? Do you know?
It's UFC. Is it 228? I want to say.
Okay, cool. So,
Let me see. That's in
yep,
Dallas, and yeah, that's
September 8th.
Yair Rodriguez, Mohamed Sharapov, headlined Woodley Till, and Montano Shevchenko.
Oh, God. Okay, sweet. That's gonna be dope. That's
Yeah.
definitely gonna be dope. But yeah, exciting for Moicano. Good to see him like returning to form. It's like he took the loss to Ortega, but like, that's what happens. You shot in on him. What do you
Yeah, and
expect?
he's Ortega. He was winning that fight just like everybody does against Ortega. It's not as though he was just getting shit kicked by Brian Ortega. He was doing really well and holding his own, probably ahead slightly on points, but also starting to get tagged up and made a bad decision to shoot in, and that's what literally everyone does to Brian Ortega.
Yeah, so you can't fault him for that. But man, strong showing. I like to see it. And it just a good reminder why this division is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, no, featherweight's awesome, and it's good to see new blood cutting their way to the top, actually being able to win the big fights, not getting pushed too early like
Yair.
Superboy Duho Choi when he got to fight
Oh
Cub,
man.
and Cub just took like 3 years off his life.
Yeah. And 3/4 of a soul.
Yeah. Before that, JJ Aldridge beat Pollyanna Viana in a fight that just shouldn't have been on the main card.
Yeah, why was this on the pay-per-view?
Apparently a bunch of people were hyped about Pollyanna Viana, especially based off of her like
Or her
regional
jiu-jitsu?
BJJ accolades.
Yeah, she's a world champion in BJJ, right?
Well, I mean, that's what Rogan said. Is it below the black belt level or something? Because she's certainly not on like BJJ Heroes or anything like that.
Mhm.
She's not a name in jiu-jitsu.
I don't know, man.
So maybe she's like a world champion at like brown belt or something.
She's still badass.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's bad at it, but there was a level of hype here that or a level of trust in her that I certainly didn't understand, and Aldridge kind of showed that pretty clearly that Viana doesn't know how to strike and doesn't know how to wrestle. So being really good at jiu-jitsu doesn't mean the most.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a decent fight for Aldridge. I think she kind of turned Viana into a pest dispenser for a good portion of that fight, just because Viana's chin is she's got that jiu-jitsu chin, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like old school, I'm gonna put my chin up
Yeah,
there.
she was out there fighting like Hoist in 1993, Just
without that little awkward front kick that he did.
She didn't have the crazy stomp, but she had body kicks to answer instead. Like, that was a nice body kick, but the hands were purely like slapping, pawing hooks that, man, I'm glad that the judges got this right, because Viana did land a lot of body kicks, but pretty much all of her punches should not have counted for anything at all.
Yeah, and turns out she actually was losing the clinch exchanges. Aldridge was able to actually kind of hold her there and muscle her around. And
Rogan was blown away. He's talking about like, oh, I don't know why she's clinching up with her. It's like, because the clinch isn't jiu-jitsu. It's not like, you don't get subbed from the clinch. That's not how the clinch works.
You can get subbed from the clinch.
You can, but Aldridge couldn't.
No. I mean, she was minding her P's and Q's too. She was like on the clinch, or she was on the cage clinching and looking to do not much of anything.
But solid win for her. Not a fight that should have been on pay-per-view, but
3-fight winning streak.
Yeah. Good win for Aldridge. Before that, Thiago Santos beat Kevin Holland. And, credit to Kevin Holland doing the whole, like, wacky inflatable two-man striking. It almost got him a win a couple times. There were a couple moments where he just, like, whacked an arm out there, and it clubbed Thiago Santos in the temple or something, and he would just be like, wobbled for half a second and then just be like, oh, I'll just go fucking take this guy down again and start pummeling him half to death.
Yeah, credit to Holland for being game and being fun out there when he's getting his ass kicked. Like, kind of how, remember Jason Miller when he would get his ass kicked? It would be fun though. He knows he's losing, but he's having fun doing it. But Santos, this was good because it doesn't do anything for his rankings, but he got a lot of quality time in a lot of areas of the fight. Like, he was able to comfortably work on some ground and pound without much threat of submissions. A little early on, but after that, not too much. He worked some clinching. He worked his takedowns. So it was kind of like a rounded performance from Santos instead of like the typical come out and just fucking ace somebody or get taken out himself. This is like the first decision he's won in a long time also. So it was good.
He tried as hard as he could to die out there and like do something stupid that would lose him that fight, but
he also tried to finish. I mean, he was hitting hard on the feet, hitting hard on the ground. He didn't get subbed. He went for subs himself, and he didn't gas out. So strong win for him as far as I'm concerned, and good all-around performance.
I like his planning, too, of saying that he's going to be ready for UFC 230 in the late fall, which has like 4 middleweight fights on it already ranked in the top 10. And he's just saying, I'll be in shape. One of those dudes gets hurt. That's me. I'll be on that card. And, you look at that UFC 230 card right now, and betting on like Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman and Jacare and all these dudes to all make it to that card healthy. There's a pretty good chance that somebody's pulling out of that card.
Yeah, probably.
Although clearly he's already lost to Dave Branch, but there's a chance he could face Paulo Costa if Yoel Romero had to pull out of that fight.
Oh man, don't even speak that into the universe. Like, why would you even put that out there? Damn it, Zane. So you're going to be held responsible if that shit falls through now.
We got
But
Derek
yeah, I mean,
Brunson coming off an injury, fighting Izzy Adesanya on that card.
I
So
guess that's one way to go about it. Instead of just saying, "Hey, I want to fight this guy," you can say, "Hey, I'll just take a short notice fight."
yep, I'll be in shape. I'll be ready for this card with all these middleweights. After that, too, he said that he's interested in moving up to 205 in the near future. Which,
Oh yeah, he's chasing Anthony Smith.
yeah, I can't knock that decision to go up at all. I mean,
He's like, I dusted Anthony Smith, who just dusted Shogun. What the fuck am I doing at middleweight?
exactly. Can you
Like Joel
imagine? I mean, can you
Romero's in this
imagine Thiago
division.
Santos getting like a fight with Patrick Cummins? That would be
No,
fun.
fuck that. He's got to fight OSP. Like
Yeah.
him and
Or what about Jimmy
OSP.
Manuwa?
Yeah,
Could
there
fight
you
Jimmy.
go.
Could fight Manuwa. I would watch the shit out of that fight.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more fun for him at 205.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be much more effective at 205. I think his strikes will mean a lot more, and his athleticism will mean a lot more.
Yep. Dude is a monster, and he's just kind of a wild man, but 205 is full of really unstructured power strikers that you could have a lot of fun mixing it up in that division. Before that, Pedro Munhoz beat Brett Johns by decision to close out the prelim card, and man, that was just a one-sided mauling and beautiful. Like, I know it's, everybody's like, oh, Munhoz should have finished him. How could he not? And it's like, hey, they went to fucking war in that second round, so I can't knock Munhoz for not wanting to like get back up and be like, nah, I'm gonna let this dude punch me instead of just riding out a clear decision win. But you gotta love his kicking game plan. He had to take apart that leg, and then every time John switched stance, just drill him in the body. That was beautiful.
Yeah, and he was doing pretty damn well with his hands, man.
Yeah.
This might be the sharpest Munhoz has looked on the feet, quite honestly. Actually, this is him. I've never seen him look more dangerous on the feet.
Yeah.
Like I viewed him as dangerous on the feet in this fight, and I think that's the first time I've really seen him like that.
It really did help that Johns was a pretty great style matchup for him, though, as somebody who just wanted to stalk in and box with him and like march forward himself and throw combinations. It's just
and like shoot in and look for the takedown.
yeah, for Munhoz, it's just like, you're just gonna keep coming at me, and because I don't feel pain. I mean, Munhoz clearly does not feel pain. I don't know how that works,
No.
but maybe
yeah. That's why he abandoned the head movement. He's like, why move this thing? It doesn't even, I don't feel it. So
yeah. So he just got to open up with volume and get creative on a guy who's just giving him a target. And man, seeing him take the leg to the body and back to the leg and back to the body is just gorgeous. Great win for him.
So much damage Johns took, and he just kept taking it like a champion.
Yeah.
But it sucks when toughness is the best way to describe your performance.
Yeah, no, Johns is clearly, I mean, rather just ridiculously fucking tough, but that didn't really help him in this fight at all. He's gonna have to change his game up a lot to try to continue back up into the top of the division. Might now be time to start thinking about maybe like a John Lineker Pedro Munhoz fight.
Oh man, he's gonna have to move his head. Oh shit, he's gonna come out. He's like, oh, I'm dangerous on the feet now. I'm gonna go do what I did to John Lineker and get slept for it. Oh man.
Yeah, but I'd watch the shit out of that, man.
Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah.
And I mean, Munhoz is gonna be fun no matter what, because he's gonna let you hit him. Anybody.
Yeah.
Except Aljamain Sterling.
No. All right. For that, Ricky Simon beat Montel Jackson, and this really did just look like too much too soon for Jackson. Jackson honestly does look like the better prospect in that fight, but he clearly is just not comfortable enough to pull the trigger as much as he needed to win.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson, he just turned pro a year ago, so like he's super green. But I mean, I feel like he did pretty well considering, he's only been pro for a year, and he's already in the UFC, and it's the year 2018. 15 years ago, that wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But like in 2018, you're already in the UFC after only being pro for a year. Like
Yep.
that's the fast track and a half. But it's
It really,
also, I mean, it's impressive, but it's also, it's reflective of where he's at and his certain skill set, you know, and there's going to be a learning curve with this dude. But I think if they give him, decent fights, like I think this was a good test for him and a good matchup for him. Give him more fights like this, and maybe he'll develop into something.
yeah, he's just have to learn to put on a professional pace. I think that was the thing. It's just like fighting really bad fighters regionally did not prepare him for somebody like Simon, who's just gonna, or Simone.
Yeah.
What the hell, Simone? I don't want to have to. No. Anyway, it didn't prepare him for
Look,
somebody like
saying
Ricky.
Simone, you need to chill out.
Didn't prepare him for somebody like Ricky Simone, who was going to go out and put it, like, just really go after him for every minute of the fight. And Jackson had to make smart decisions for every minute of the fight, and he wasn't really ready for that yet. But you see that shit he did where he just like locked Simone's wrist and then posted with his other arm and stood up.
Yeah, it's bananas.
That shit is absurd. That's the kind of elite athlete thing where you watch that. When I, did a lot more scouting of fighters, like that's the kind of thing where you see that and you're like, this guy is going to be amazing if he gets his if his training goes right, if his timing goes right, if he gets the time to develop. That's stuff that like nobody else is doing that.
That's freakish shit, man.
Yeah.
That was from the bottom of full mount. He just grabs dude's arm and just like, I'm gonna stand up now because you can't get your arm free because I have these man hands, these giant banana hands that you can't deal with, and the grip of 10 apes, and you just can't do nothing. Like it was like someone playing with their dad, you know what I mean? Like controlling their child. Like, come here, kid. Like that's impressive. And I'm excited. I'm more excited for Jackson losing than I am for Simone winning.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the kind of thing. Is that it's the kind of thing that shows you, in 2 years maybe Jackson wins that fight, and it's hard not to be more excited about that than Simone being busy and taking a hard grinding decision that he should have taken.
Yeah.
Before that, Ricardo Ramos or Hamosh beat Kyung Ho Kong in by split decision. I scored it for Kong, but I mean, not to compare it to the DJ fight, I don't really have a problem with Hamosh winning it.
No, I mean Hamas, he had the pressure early, and I feel like he did enough to get it done. And that slick ass knee bar he hit there in the second round, like that was pretty damn close. That was probably the closest the fight came to being stopped altogether. You got to give the third round to Kong, but I scored it 2-1 for Hamosh, and he definitely faded in the third.
Yeah,
which was never a good sign. But I gave him the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and the first one I thought, was pretty debatable. He was moving forward. I thought Kyung Ho landed the better strikes off his back foot. But when you're fighting that kind of close fight, you never know what the refs or what the judges are going to see. So you gotta, if you're not going to take really kind of push yourself on the fight and make the decision clear, it's hard to argue with a decision that doesn't go your way. For that, Shaman Moraes beat Matt Sales, and good showing for Sales, considering. I mean, this was just kind of a fight that he was never really going to win, and he came close. He made it through based on toughness and cardio and good defensive movement that DC and Rogan just would not stop talking about. He made it to the third round and was fresher than Moraes there, but man, did he get heavily outstruck in the first 2, and you would never known it from the commentary.
Yeah, I know. It was a little odd. It's I don't know what that was all about, but he was clearly getting tagged up over the better part of 2 rounds, and then Moraes faded there in the final round. But like Moraes was still throwing.
Yeah,
it was just slow and just single power shots, and you could see Sales had a ton of energy, and like you just got done saying, like you got that much left over at the end of a fight, like, and you lose a decision, you can't really be mad. No. It's like you had more to give, you didn't give it. Like that's no one's fault but your own. So you deserve to lose. a decision like that, you should have went harder in the paint, you know. But Sales does remind me of like a more talented Frankie Saenz.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the vibe I get. It's like a rejuvenated, like a younger Frankie Saenz. If Frankie Saenz went after MMA earlier, I think it would be like this guy here.
Yeah, I mean, I like his pressure boxing. He showed more diversity in his punch selection this time. Threw more kicks in his strike selection too. I mean, it used to be a lot of his regional stuff was just him being like slick, moving well, and then landing the right hands and changing up his right hand that he would throw. But he actually landed kicks. He threw the left. He looked like a bit more evolved kickboxer. He just didn't have an answer for Moraes being able to go to the head, the body, and the legs for 2 solid rounds of power kickboxing.
Yeah, he was getting tuned up right off the bat. I mean, Moraes was really showing off his polish there early, like crafty knees, head kicks, like it was beautiful. And then that just really went out the window in the third round, and it was just like survival mode.
Yeah.
Just throw power shots and try to keep him off of you as best you can.
It's kind of the difference. I think that like it's a credit that over like 5 rounds, Sales may have won that fight, and it's a credit to efficiency in that like his movement, his punches, his strike selection was just a lot more efficient, kept better control of his cardio and of his adrenaline and all that. And Moraes out there winging all this power and doing a lot of damage, but if he didn't put the guy away and if the fight went on forever, Sales would probably win it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But if we're watching them in a 5-round fight, we're doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, no question. We're not, this isn't an LFA mid-year card or something. But for that, Alex Perez, Jose Torres, damn it. Damn you, Jose Aldo, forever ruining the name Jose for me. Alex Perez, Jose Torres, and man, did Perez just beat the tar out of Torres.
He came out with he took advantage of the weaknesses of Torres, which the slow start and the lack of head movement. And that's just, he got him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He came out, stormed his castle right away, and never let him off the hook. And man,
I
was tough.
I can't imagine Perez could fight like that for 3 rounds, but it didn't matter. Like he just, he landed like 100 and something punches in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's like if you watch Torres's fights, it's like if you do this, you might knock him out.
Yeah. Torres tends to come on strong as the fights go. He's got a very measured pressure style that builds over time. So why not just go after him right out of the gate and try to put him away early rather than betting that you're going to be able to just control him enough to survive when he's landing better shots later on.
Man, phenomenal game plan. Phenomenal game plan, executed to perfection. I mean, Perez did his damn thing. He took full advantage of this opportunity, and that was impressive.
Yeah. For that, Weili Zhang beat Danielle Taylor, and just solid fight from Zhang. She looked more collected than I'd ever seen her look regionally. Had better defensive movement, threw a little bit tighter combos, better shot selection, and Taylor couldn't hurt her. So if Taylor can't hurt you, she's going to lose the decision on output. Pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, Zhang is freaking powerful. She is so strong out there. Like it was clearly evident. Anytime they got in the clinch or anything like that, it's like, wow, like they're on different levels here. Taylor, she was kind of just trying to fight too far on the outside and trying to leap in with a bomb, and she struggled to close the distance if Zhang wasn't closing it for her. So if Zhang wasn't crashing in, it wasn't making up that distance when she was coming forward. And so her punches started falling short as the fight went on.
I got to feel kind of bad for Taylor, too, because at some point, someone very clearly told her that she needs to set up her right hand with her left hand. But the only left hand she seems to throw is like a wide pawing hook, lead hook. And when she does that, she jumps forward, and she basically has that arm out pawing, like throwing this wide hook, and her right arm cocked back. And she's just wide open to get popped. And Weili just absolutely countered the hell out of her over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like when you're your physics do not match your technique. Like they're going too fast for
Yeah.
your
It's like
mechanics
maybe
there.
you need to be throwing a left jab to the body and then going upstairs with the right hand rather than this wide slap, like weird hook that you think is going to try to like distract people and just gets you set up to get countered all the time.
Yeah, she was getting hit pretty hard there. But I mean, she was landing a couple nice counter punches of her own. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
it just
Taylor's always got the power and she's got the speed and the ability to close distance and land big shots, but she doesn't have the output or the diversity to get a lot done. And of course, she's like 5 foot tall, which
yeah, 5 foot and fighting on the outside is
yeah.
not a good look.
For that, Marlon Vera beat Wooly Garbrandt, and Barren looked pretty good for the first round before Vera found his footing in the fight. But once Vera did in the second, man, he just turned it up and absolutely put it on.
Yeah, that was
Wooly.
wild because Cheetah got taken down there at the end of the first, and then comes out in the second, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm going to go for the takedown." So he gets the takedown, and then the second Barren stands up, it's just like, "Oh, I'm going to flurry now and just go crazy," and just starts cracking dude, hits him in the body and drops him.
Yep.
And it's like, yes, another body shot. We've been getting tons of body shots lately. Like something's in the air with body shots. It's like card in and card out. Everyone's getting hurt to the body. I
mean, MMA fighters maybe finally are starting to realize that there's more zones than the thigh and your head. Like thigh and chin. Those have been the only two MMA strike zones for a lot of years. And it's
now it's like body and calf.
Yep. Exactly. The whole range of areas that you can hit people in. So good to see it.
Good for Cheeto. His story's pretty touching. So always like to see him win and get his win bonus. And I mean, classic Vera, though. You know what I mean? He's always in these competitive ass fights, and it's always debatable up until it's over. So
back up to the top. Yeah, Dillashaw Moraes. I mean, maybe they do Dillashaw Cejudo if the UFC is just really feeling that and everybody's on the same page and they just want to do it right away. But more likely, I feel like we're going to get DJ Cejudo 2 or 3 now, and then Dillashaw Moraes would be probably the fights coming down the pipe that I could see.
And I'm totally cool with all of those. And I'm cool if Cejudo wants to hop up and fight Dillashaw.
Sure.
And I'm definitely cool if Dillashaw wants to hop up and fight Jose Aldo, because that's cool with me too.
Yeah,
it's an intriguing matchup.
It'd be nice to see Jose take a couple more fun, like weird money fights before he rides off his contract into the wild blue yonder. And that would be the kind of thing that would be just wild, totally unexpected.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. The speed of Dillashaw, the power of Aldo.
Yeah. Otherwise, pretty good card. I mean, even if you didn't love the Cejudo Demetrius Johnson score, it makes the flyweight division more interesting. Dillashaw Garbrandt was a great fight. Carnero Cub Swanson, very solid. Aldridge Viana, forgettable. Santos Holland, hilarious. And the undercard was fine. A lot of good, competitive, well-fought decisions that make a fine card. It wasn't outstanding, but overall, pretty good night of fights,
Yeah, I liked it. But it didn't give me the pay-per-view feel. I feel like I got a bigger pay-per-view feeling from watching the UFC on Fox card the other day with Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stevens on it than I did from watching this UFC pay-per-view. But still some quality here. It's just tons of bantamweights, but like a lot of meaningless fights outside of like three of them.
The top 3 were big, and everything else was just completely, a fight. Adrian Moonhouse, Brett Johns being the most meaningful fight on the rest of the card,
and which is saying,
yeah.
But it was cool to see the finish in the main event, and it's cool seeing Cejudo dethroning DJ. That's monumental and historic. So maybe they'll run it back for the trilogy. And if DJ wins, would they run it back again for a fourth? Like what?
Probably not. Unfortunately for Cejudo, he probably wouldn't get that fight a fourth time. But all right.
I like these divisions. These are active divisions, and I like it.
They're active divisions, and the fighters are all diversely talented, and it rarely, Garbrandt, like the sloppiest thing you can say about those fights is that Garbrandt totally swings wild when somebody has outside foot position on him. It's not like it never devolves into a shit show. It's not like some of the big light heavyweight, and middleweight fights. Where you're like, this is a big fight, and also like, what the shit is this?
There's no Ben Rothwells out there floating around.
All right, on that note, you can find me on Twitter at TheSaintSimon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at TheEddieMercado. You can find both of us over at BloodyElbow.com. Give this video a like, thumbs up down there over on YouTube, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com, DOTCOM, all spelled out. So you can find all the latest Bloody Elbow shows, videos, interviews, analysis, all that stuff we do week in, week out. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will be back in 2 weeks for UFC Lincoln, I believe. Gagey versus Vic. So
good old stinking Lincoln.
On that note, thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.